I'm seeing an increase in siren-focused novels. I'm just super excited. With that bold claim, I will be interested to see for myself. Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gabrielle, and I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I'm most excited to read in 2023. And by that I mean all of the new releases. I have a ton of books that are on my TBR or to be read list, but I have some in mind that I know will be releasing next year that I'm super excited to read. Some of these I have read other books by the author, but some of them I have never heard of the author or read any of their other books, if they have any. Some of them are even debut novels of the author, and one of them is even the conclusion of one of my favorite series. So that one, of course, will be one that I'm very eager to read. So let me just jump right in and talk about these books with you. The first book is Gold by Raven Kennedy, and it is the fifth and final novel within the Plated Prisoner series. It's expected to publish in June of 2023, and I've mentioned it in other videos, but the Plated Prisoner series is one of my favorite fantasy romance series. I have loved it from the first book. And I know a lot of people, they read the first book, they continue on with the series, and then discover just how amazing it is and how amazing the whole story is. So I would highly encourage everyone to read, but for my own sake, I'm so excited to find out what happens in the finale. The fourth novel in the series that was published earlier in 2022 left off on a major cliffhanger, so there will be a lot to dive into in this next book, and I'm really excited to see what Raven Kennedy shares. I am sure that I will be sobbing by the end of it, and it's going to be really hard to let it go. I finished the long series Throne of Glass, and that was really hard just because of how emotionally attached you get to the characters, and I feel this one will be even worse for me, so I'm not looking forward to it in that regard, but I am because I want to know what happens so bad. The next book has an even longer wait with an expected publication in October of 2023, but it is Electo the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I'm not exactly sure of the exact pronunciation, but this is the same author that published Gideon the Ninth and the following books in the series. And I will say, at this point that I'm recording it, I have not read Gideon the Ninth, but I have been on hold for weeks from the library to check it out, so I will have read it and hopefully the other books within the series before October of next year, but I anticipate that I will really enjoy this. From everything that I've heard about it, I think it'll be a good laugh and just a fun time. And so I anticipate that this next book in the series will be a really interesting one. It will be the fourth book in the series, and I'm not exactly sure when the author plans to end it, so hopefully it is good. Okay, the next one I'm so excited for. I've been waiting a long time, but it is Symphony for a Deadly Throne. This is the third and I believe the final book within a trilogy called the Musai trilogy, and it's by author E.J. Mello. I have also discussed the other two books within the series in previous videos, but this is one of my favorite fantasy romance series. I think I read the first book in the series in the summer of 2020, and I loved it. I had never read anything exactly like that before, and I just love what E.J. Mello did. But essentially the trilogy follows three sisters, and so each book is following one of the sisters. So this last book will be following Arabessa, the eldest sister of the three, and on her journey there. Now the titles are all related to their magical powers because they have, they each have their own. So Arabessa's is related to music and instruments, hence symphony. And I'm really excited to find out what happens. The rest of the trilogy is so good. It's high fantasy. Each of them have different romance and different adventures that they go on. And I will say the first book with Largara, the youngest sister, it involved a bit more influence of the two eldest sisters so we could get to know them. But then the second book following Nia or Naya, the second middle sister, Hers, she was like out at sea, so she was away from her sisters for a lot of it. So I'm really interested to see how we will get the influence of the sisters in this one. But I have an advanced reader copy of this, so I think I will need to do a whole dedicated video of my review of this book as a wrap up to the trilogy because I'm just super excited. There are two particular trends that I'm noticing with a lot of the newer books that are published, and I might do a little bit of an in-depth analysis into maybe why this is happening. But I've noticed that a lot of Asian-focused and Asian-related magic fantasy novels are being published lately, as well as in terms of, you know, what like creature or supernatural being books are focusing on. You know, in more recent years, there's been a lot of fae books, and previously there were like elven creatures. And I think there's kind of a trend moving into general supernatural, but also like water-related creatures like sirens. I've seen that increase. Two of these books focus on those ideas and themes, so I'm excited to read these. The first one is Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Amelie Wen Zhao. And this one follows a main character, Lan, whose mother passed away, and as she was dying, she like grabbed onto Lan's, I think her left arm, and burned a character or a symbol into her skin, but no one else can see it but Lan. And Lan does not know what the symbol means. So she's on this search for, you know, her whole life to find out what this means and what the significance are, in hope that there's something out there for her. When her mother passed away, that meant that she was now an orphan. And so the book really kicks off when she's 18 years old and, you know, continues on this journey to find out what the character means. It includes a lot of sort of, you know, historical influence. There's a lot of like conquered nations, and the book provides information on like when certain kingdoms ruled their land, and it is fantasy again. So it's a really interesting take on, you know, historical influence, but being a made-up world. There are also demons involved and just a ton of different magical powers, but overall it's inspired by the folklore of ancient China. Like I mentioned, I'm seeing an increase in siren-focused novels, which isn't new, but, you know, I've seen more of them lately, and I'm really interested in this debut novel by author Gabby Burton. It follows the main character, Saoirse Sorkova, who is a Black female siren that is training to be an assassin. There's a few different plot points going through, but Saoirse is a primary, you know, assassin of the kingdom where she lives, and I believe her sister receives some blackmail and a threat, and in order to resolve it, Saoirse has to serve as like the bodyguard to the prince. So, you know, there's some, hopefully a love story going on there, but as she's with the prince, they're seeking to solve who is, you know, killing people within their kingdom. And little does the prince know that Saoirse is the one committing all these assassinations. So it should be really interesting. I hope that it turns out really good. It is a young adult novel, so sometimes with young adult novels that involve like assassins, I think they're done a little bit cheesy, but I have hope that this one will be really good. It's featuring an all black and brown cast, which I don't know if I've ever read, so that'll actually be pretty cool to see. And it says it's a, you know, a thrilling fantasy, so I'm intrigued to see how it goes. The next book is by an experienced author who's well known in the YA fantasy world, but that is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. This is set to be published in April of 2023, so pretty early on, but I'm really intrigued in this one, not only because Alexandra has published many other novels, but because it follows more Arthurian legends. I love the like King Arthur folklore, mythology, whatever you want to call it. I think it's super interesting, and I haven't really read anything like it in many years. I did recently attempt to read Legendborn, which is the first in a series that involves King Arthur and that story, but I was not quite a fan, so I don't really count that as diving back into my, interest in the King Arthur and Arthurian legends. But I have hope still, and I'm really interested in this one. It follows like a main character, and I think her family has been cursed, so she's on her journey to break the curse, and I think she has to partner with her enemy to find a way out of this curse. So it should be really interesting. I think the cover is really cool, the Excalibur sword is, I'm sure, what that's portraying. But we'll see. It's claiming in the description that this is Alexandra Bracken's solidification of herself as one of the best fantasy authors out now. So with that bold claim, I will be interested to see for myself. And that is all of the books that I have seen that are being published next year that I'm really excited to read. Like I said, I'm sure there will be so many others that I end up reading next year that I absolutely love, and maybe I won't even love any of these. So let me know if you have any books that are releasing that you're super eager to read, or if any of the ones that I included are newly added to your TBR list. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you are so inclined, but I will see you in another video sometime